The idea of family can come in many different forms. Perhaps think of it not just as your blood relatives, but as the people who are important in your life. Your people are your tribe, those who accept you and want the best for you. Some situations and dynamics can be challenging, especially if you have spent time in prison. They won't necessarily understand what you have been through, and you may not understand what they have been through whilst you've been away. It will take time to rebuild relationships and create new ones. Don't expect things to be the same as they were when you left, and try to be patient and open in developing new connections.
Definitely takes time to rebuild relationships. I guess just to be completely honest with yourself. And all I could do was own my part.
To make relationships better when you do get released is sometimes you can't make a relationship better. People stick to that, he's a criminal, he's a criminal. Even though you respect them, you do what you can, behave yourself. Look, if something goes wrong, something's been stolen, the first person they look at is you. He's a criminal, he's been in there.
For me, upon being released from prison, if I keep on mixing with the people that I always mix with, and there was a lot of good people, you know, but if I keep on mixing with the people with what I used to do, I'll end up doing what I used to do.
For me, I found it really difficult to connect with my family, even though when I got off the train at Spencer Street, or Southern Cross as it's called now, I was met by my nephew, my mother and my grandmother. And my mother and grandmother were very much part of my guilt, my shame, as an addict, as well as someone who was in the system. So, of course, I couldn't help but feel shameful because I loved those two women, you know, more than... Sorry, guys. Sorry. It's okay, I like crying, it's all right, it's all right. I just don't like doing it in front of the fucking camera. Oh.
Family's important, you know. My family's passed away, but I have, you know, nieces, nephews, you know. I'm mixing with them and, you know, they always gave me direction to do the next right thing.
Oh, fuck, I thought I dealt with all that. There you go. I guess the advice that I would give about reconnecting with your family and just that guilt that's associated with it, that to forgive yourself. And it's easier said than done, it really is. But I guess for me, I had to realise that I wasn't a bad person, that I was unwell, that whether it life circumstance, whatever it was, that I had to try and learn to forgive me for my past and change what I could in that present moment for the future. And that does sound cliche, but that was what I had to do. And it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. It really took time, but it is doable.
You know, I'll go and see my mother's grave, you know, once a couple of times a year, and I had a lot of guilt and shame. I was living life right away from the life that I had lived for so long, you know, and you know, being responsible. Starting to feel a bit more responsible as, you know, in the community. One of those squareheads, you know. Yeah, but I always felt not good in myself of what I'd put my parents through, even though they passed away, and I phoned up my friend from the rehab and spoke to him about it. And he said, "John, I can understand how you're feeling." He lived a similar lifestyle to myself, and he said, "John, write him a letter." And I'm thinking, he's off his head, this bloke. I didn't say it, but I thought it, you know. He said, "Write him a letter as if they're still alive about how you're feeling and why." He said, "The next time you go to the grave," he said, "read it out and then burn it." And I'm thinking, he's a space cadet, this bloke, you know, but I respect him. You know, and so I practiced that. I practiced what he suggested for me to do, He didn't tell me to do it, he just suggested it, and I went, so I did it. It's helped me to feel better as a person, as a human being.
To make relationships better, you need to respect people, work with people, don't avoid people that mislead you as being a criminal. Try and talk to them, explain to them. Just, that's the only thing I can recommend. Like,
through my addiction, I wasn't, didn't, run around saying sorry to everyone, 'cause I just knew that they'd heard that before.
For me, I used to always say sorry. For me, sorry is just a word. And I thought about it, and how can I try and set things right with these people?
a lot of it's time. You got to spend time with your family and not just go back out in the streets. And
some people, who cares, but some people, family and partners, ex-partners and partners, and mates, how can I set things right? There's stuff that I felt yuck about, guilty about in myself, words that I've said, physical harms and financial harms. How can I set that right, and sorry for me wasn't enough, because I always said sorry but kept on doing the same thing. So nothing had changed, nothing changes, someone said, and so I thought about it, and I went to these friends, family, regarding what's happened, if I've caused you any harm in the past, if there's any way I can set things right, just let me know. And some family members said to me, they said, John, just don't do what you used to do, and just do what you need to do. Don't do what you want to do, just do what you need to do, and just stay clean.
Being part of your community, for me, I believe it's a human need and it's part of our makeup, to be part of that community, to be part of your family, to be invited to weddings, to be invited to Christmas lunches, that kind of stuff.
I'm feeling emotional. I'm 6'2.5", saturated in tattoos, done many, many years in prison. I'm coming to understand my feelings. It was a real beautiful, freeing experience.
Be honest and open about your needs, and be willing to take on new responsibilities within your role. Sometimes it may be best to take small steps and to build on these gradually. Be patient. Trust takes time to develop. By being considerate and contributing positively to the lives of people you care about, you can build friendships and deepen connections. If you are having difficulty managing your relationships, there are a range of counselling services that can help.